points, inshallah. Firstly, I'd like to thank MCB for the excellent commitment statements they have come up with. I fully endorse it, I support it. It's admirable, it's relevant, it's focused, and it is indeed part of what I would term a code of discipline for the conduct of scholars, let alone individual people. The 2 points I'd like to make, first and foremost, is that I have personally, if you don't know, been involved in jihad for about 15-20 years. I fought in the battlefields of Afghanistan, Kashmir and Burma. And tonight, inshallah, I'd like to seize the opportunity for what it's worth, and who might want to listen, I know it's going to be controversial, to openly say that all these years that we fought, and we tried to kill and be killed for the sake of Allah, seeking martyrdom, we neglected certain factors that were at play. We pretended not to listen, although we heard the words. And although we hope that Allah forgives us and accepts our contributions for His sake, but there has to be a measure of responsibility in terms of whether we are listening to sound advice or following our desires. And if that's born of anger and hatred and grudges, that is very sad indeed, and one doubts if that would enable a person to become beloved of Allah, let alone attain eternal happiness in paradise forever. Don't be a pawn. If you're thinking of going to Syria and Iraq and other such places of conflict to take sides in battles which are amongst Muslim brothers and sisters, you'll only make matters worse, you'll delay the solution, you will only bring more tears to the eyes, and perhaps regret to rue the day that you had gone. Because as we grow in maturity, understanding, knowledge, devotion, faith, one becomes more humble and understands what many scholars have pointed out today, starting with our excellent speaker, Brother Mahdi Hassan, and none of which we can disagree with, that at the end of the day, nothing is going to save us except a pure heart. And that brings me to the second point. That we can talk about our suffering, we can talk about a moment's silence for all the victims, the children of Gaza and Syria and Iraq and places. The human heart, the Muslim heart, needs to feel empathy and sadness for human suffering. And if you're not moved by the violence in Israel and Palestine, whoever the casualty, whether Jews or Muslims, whether Israelis or Palestinians, then there's something lacking in us, and we are neglecting our inhumanity at the cost of our own benefit. So I would say, the second point, if you may allow me, that we really need to deeply search our hearts to see where we stand in front of Allah with respect to the heart that we present to Him. It carries prejudice, it carries hatred, it carries a blanket denial of the injustices we commit in the name of Islam, being impassioned by the political goings on against other people. We shed tears when a Palestinian child dies, and we find it difficult to even empathize with a Jewish child who has died in a rocket attack by Hamas, for example. I'm not taking sides. I will support any organization, group, which will work towards peace and prosperity for all people, because I believe that is what Islam wants us to do to attain salvation with Allah. Jazakumullah khairan.